What's the good news? That there is good news. Who's the modern believer? Amazing people like Eli King. Eli King from Durham Free Lunch, who, thanks to him and the help from his community, have been feeding over 1,000 people a week throughout COVID. The modern believer is an individual that believes and knows change and good is happening in the world, even though we're constantly bombarded with information that tells us it's the opposite. Every now and then, we have amazing people with Eli King that roll up their sleeves and do the work. Happy Thursday, everyone. It's December 17th, 2020, and wherever you may be, whenever and however you may be listening, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, iHeartRadio, IGTV, it's another day to be thankful to being on the right side of the ground. Welcome back, and thanks for joining us in today's episode of The Modern Believer, the podcast that reminds us that the good news is that there is good news. Really appreciate you tuning in and making time for myself, joining all the other modern believers out there, and hearing Eli King's story. Eli King from Durham. Before we begin, though, I encourage you to make that phone call, send that text, forgive that person, tell them that you love them or that you have missed them. Let go of that grudge. Don't take any of it for granted, and let's together show more kindness like Eli King today, because tomorrow isn't promised, and be the difference you want to be. Let's begin. Today we are joined by Eli King from Durham. Eli went to Riverside High and is now a student at UNCG. He is from New England, but Durham is home. So when we last spoke about Eli and his mission and his colleagues, that was in late July. So wow, time's flown, Eli. And I have an idea of the impressive numbers that you're going to be able to give us today. And not as much impressive, but impactful numbers on how many people you've fed, and thank the support from the community. So a quick refresher: when Durham public schools closed, many students were faced with food security challenges. That's when Eli came in. As I mentioned, a former student of Riverside High. He had the idea to launch a program to fill the need. So he reached out to local business owners like Grant Rollman from Hombucha Kombucha, who was already in contact with a local farmer, George O'Neill from Lil Farm, about a similar project. So then they quickly formed the team and began organizing. And they added Andy McGowan.
Yeah, Andy McGowan.
From Gear Street Garden. And since then, they have been providing 200 meals per day, 5 days a week. So, Eli, tell us what it's been like and what sparked all of this.
And so it's been the reward of my lifetime. My birthday was November 22nd. So it's been the reward of my 19 years of living. How about that? Been the crown jewel of my whole year. Like I tell everybody, I am a recent graduate from high school, and I've been in public schools all my life. And, high school is when you really realize what is going on in your environment. And I tell you, lunchtime was at 12 o'clock. The lunch bell would ring at 12 o'clock. We would get to school at 9. Every day, I would get out of my car, as a car rider, and I would see kids dashing off the bus, running into school.
Mm-hmm.
Every afternoon at 12 o'clock, that lunch bell would ring, and I would be in class, and my classmates would rush down the hall to the cafeteria. And that's not because they didn't want to learn. That's not because they didn't want to be in the formal learning setting or participate. That's because those are 1 or 2 meals they would get that day. And I tell you, in a world where there's so much opportunity and so many, things to be a part of, and so much food and wealth and people that want to help, that's ridiculous to me.
Yeah.
And when the pandemic hit, that became a quick reality that those 2 meals, that 1 or 2 meals, weren't there anymore. That wasn't an option. So what would happen to those kids, my classmates, people's children, people's siblings? What would happen to them? and most importantly, my neighbors,
Yeah.
because that's why I named it Durham Neighbors, because they're my neighbors.
Right. That's
And
your
so what
people.
would happen to them? And that's why that's what sparked it in my head, you know, to act quicker. Because I tell you, I came to Grant, and we were working it out and trying to be as precise as possible with the plans. But as soon as DPS ended their mill service, I said we have to do it now.
Yeah.
We can't wait, because these people can't wait. Our neighbors can't wait, and so we started it within like a few days. And although at first we were only serving 100 meals a day, and we on the first day we served 80 out of 100 meals, now we are serving all 200 meals a day, 1,000 a week, over 40,000 meals so far.
I got chills. You saying 40,000 because I had an idea what the number was, and when I covered this, and it was through Instagram that we got actually connected. Someone shared it,
Mm-hmm.
the power of sharing. Um, and it was you were at 10,000, you know. So for you to say 40,000, that's impactful. And something that I mentioned that I could definitely relate to this is that I was one of those kids. It may not seem like it right now because I got a couple LBs on me, a little more pounds than I should, working on it. But on the real though, I remember being in when we first got to the States in Florida, in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember opening up the fridge and nothing was there. And it wasn't because, I mean, I have, in my opinion, the world's greatest mother, God bless me with an amazing mom, but it wasn't easy, for a few years. And my favorite day of the week was Wednesday because it was salad day. So that means that it was just a salad buffet, right? So I just munch
Mm-hmm.
up. And it's not easy. I can't imagine it would be easy for, a parent to be like, hey, make sure you eat today. Because I
Exactly.
don't know we're gonna have any dinner. So when this is why I was really just why I got those goosebumps because I know what that feeling's like. I know what that feeling's like to say either 10 cents a breakfast or free breakfast or free lunch, and it goes a long way. So seriously, that is awesome. And going back to what you said that it was with Andy that you first connected, right?
So I connected first with Grant, and Grant tied the knot with Andy across the street at Gare Street Garden, because we were looking for places to serve. We are like, what would be the best way possible? Is it going to be soup? Is it going to be sandwiches? How can we do this? And we talked to Andy, and he was all in. He was all in. To have his restaurant workers make meals for us. So it wasn't just sandwiches. It wasn't just soup. It was a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I was
And I
gonna ask
remember,
what sort of meals are you providing?
and so it's quality, healthy meals. Sometimes we have like chicken sandwiches, ham sandwiches, turkey, tuna, roast beef. We have like vegetable burritos, chorizo burritos. We have like salad. Sometimes we partner with pie pushers to provide pizza.
Nice.
Sometimes we partner with local pops to provide popsicles. And so it just depends on the day. We provide a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
But I pride myself in this initiative on healthy meals.
Yeah.
Um, good quality, healthy meals. No questions asked. Um, at first we had like a survey asking about, are you a student? Do you have students in your household? Um, are you home insecure? Things like that. To kind of take numbers to provide those to people. But we figured that's not important.
Yeah.
I can literally tell you the number off my head just by counting the weeks. you know we don't need to ask that information. And so we are like almost 9 months, I think,
Yeah.
going strong. Oh my goodness. Every time I have this conversation I start tearing up because I'm like, this is a dream come true, I tell you.
That's
um
awesome.
but yeah.
And you should be proud of yourself, right? I mean, so you're 19,
Hmm.
right?
I'm fresh.
Um,
Yeah.
you're right, right. Listen, and I just turned 26. We're both November babies, so happy belated birthday. I was
Same to
November
you.
7th, right?
I was born on
Um,
Thanksgiving on the 22nd. Yeah.
and I'm so excited, am hopeful, because I feel like that there's so many good similarities. And it's not like I'm like super older, right? Right. But here's the thing, you're still in school, like you got, and it may seem silly for me to say this, but you truly do have like so much life ahead of you, because I
Hmm.
tell this to a lot of my friends from college that are a year or two younger. I'm like, so much happens between 19 and 20. So much happens
Yeah.
between 20 and 21. I mean, you probably have seen how much has happened between 18 and 19. I mean, Eli, you have fed over 40,000 people, that is huge. You have helped, and I'm sure you don't even see it that way. You're just happy to be part of a group of people that are trying to make a difference and I love how you said it, your neighbors, right?
Hmm.
These aren't just any people to you. These are your
Yeah, exactly.
neighbors. Um, and I mean, I'm just so excited because it truly is uh people like you that are just making stuff happen for your age group, and that is something that you need to you should it's hard to be we're our worst critics, so it's hard to be proud of
Yeah.
ourselves or need to be proud of ourselves. But I don't know if the word is proud or you should feel. I don't like saying should you, but it's one of those things. But you should feel fulfilled, like the fulfillment that you're probably getting from
Yeah.
something like this. I can't even imagine, right? I mean, I that's one of the reasons I started doing this podcast, right? It was kind of like my COVID aha moment. I was like, there's so many things going on, right? And for the first time in our lives, and thousands of years, probably, but borderline thousands of years, like the entire world had to come to a stop.
Yeah.
Even you can make the argument even in like world wars or anything like that, and that's fair. But sometimes people have to even move quicker, right?
Hmm.
But literally, for there in March, April, like everything just like stopped.
Yeah. And
um,
I want to say this really quickly. Um, I was watching a documentary the other day on the making of the song "We Are the World" in
yeah,
1985, and I was seeing the response to situations happening in Africa, and how like literally an hour after the American Music Awards, all these singers came together,
yeah,
created this bomb song, and then within the week it was made, and everyone was like, going crazy. And I was thinking back to the situation in Haiti, the earthquake in Haiti when I was younger, and
yeah,
how there was so much money going to those things and so much attention. And then I was thinking back to the McDougal terrorist incident, that happened. Was it this year or last year?
yeah,
And those things that happen across the world, and um, those were things that were going on for like those things happen, and the response from America was so big
yeah,
and so robust, and it happened over days and weeks and months. But when something happens here, it's like it happens. There's a response, and after a week, if it's not in the headlines anymore, no one cares.
yeah.
Nothing is happening, and that's one thing that I don't want to happen with food insecurity. Um,
Right.
that's the situation that I just don't want that to fizzle out, because when I first started this initiative, when we first started this partnership to do this initiative and serve 40,000 meals, um, so many people said that they didn't think food insecurity was a problem. They didn't know that it was a problem in Durham, that they didn't
Yeah.
even know what it was, you know. Um,
And
and
it's
so
uh, real quick. I was going to say it probably has to do with, 'cause Durham's grown so much over the last 10, 15 years. It's a new city,
mhm,
but I didn't mean to, go ahead.
exactly. And Oh no, you're fine. You're fine. And just um, even after this initiative finishes, and it stops, I I I ask people to continue doing the work to advocate to make sure people know about these things because,
Yeah.
and I'm glad you said it, Durham is a very new city than it was even 5, 10 years ago.
Yeah. Big time.
The reality of living in, like, some I walk downtown a lot. So the reality of living downtown where people can give their children coats, they can put, Black Lives Matter signs in their front yard and, vote for this person, vote for that person in their front yard and park two cars in the garage and, put Christmas lights out
Yeah.
and, mow their lawn is way different than if I walked up the opposite end of the street, the
Yeah.
same street. If I walked to the opposite end of the street where there are people that can't give their kids coats, they don't have cars, so they have to get on the bus with their
But
toddler in a stroller.
yeah, Main
And
Street is not that far away from Liberty Street.
yeah, they can't
Yeah.
put yard signs in their yard. They can't put Christmas lights up, things like that. And so there's this harsh kind of barrier in realities that people aren't realizing. One, two, um, there's a lot of talk but no action with a lot of these people. Like I said, putting signs in the yard is way different than going out and acting.
Right.
Um, you know, and so, I want people to realize that there's a dual reality just in Durham.
Yeah.
That these people are literally your neighbors, and
Durham
you don't
neighbors.
realize it. You don't realize it. But yeah.
No, one of my friends, he has a saying that when 'cause I'm in Orlando now,
Hmm.
and I'm not afraid to say it. Moving to Orlando and having no one, having to start from scratch a year at a college, that was tough. So I went through a phase, and I was definitely not my best self. And one of the
Hmm.
and slowly but surely I got to where I wanted to be at again. And one of my friends, Michael, he said a saying that I think you just hit the nail on the head, and that you personally are like embodying it, which is actions speak louder than words, but results speak loudest. I mean, Eli,
Hmm.
you could have just said, you could have just said, tweeted, man, we should have more food, right? Or maybe you could have organized one GoFundMe or whatever, or something along the lines, right? You did not only that, but now, like you said, over 40,000 meals. Like that is amazing. It goes back to don't talk about it, be about it. So and it's tough. It's just tough taking that extra dive, right? And what was that like, being a student? What, so 19, are you in your freshman or sophomore year?
Freshman, freshman.
So you started this as you're wrapping up high school, right?
Hmm.
And then you're at UNC Greensboro
Yeah.
trying to get
uh,
accommodate with virtual learning. Have you been on campus at all?
yeah, I live on campus.
Okay. Are
So
you in
right now I'm
Greensboro
in
right
Durham.
now? Oh, you're in
Yeah, I'm
Durham.
in Durham
Okay.
right now. But yeah, I live on campus, and I do have classes that are, in person.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about it is, although I do go to Greensboro, UNCG, I'm never there. I'm always down in Durham, because I miss it too much.
Yeah.
Um, and so
What is it?
the
A
thing,
Cone Hall? Is it? That's one of the dorms, right?
yeah, Cone, and there's Cone, Reynolds, and I live in Guilford. I live in Guilford, one of the residential colleges, and so I like know everybody in the building because I go to class with them. But
Yeah. Yeah.
um, I'm always in Durham, and I can tell you, when I told people, when I told our friends, our neighbors, our family, I don't call them the community anymore because they're not just random people.
Yeah.
Their friends, families, and neighbors. I told them I was like going to college and I was leaving. I can tell you, I broke into tears so many times.
Yeah.
They broke into tears so many times, and they told me they would pull me aside, and I'm glad there was I was the extra volunteering. There's two other people than me, so I could be pulled aside. But they'd pull me aside and tell me how much this impacted them.
Yeah.
You know, through the many months I've had, there was this guy, homeless guy, and he would come up every day and he said, I can't help financially. I can't donate money. How else can I help? I want to help. He was a volunteer for multiple months. There was a lady who had been staying in her car with her grandson for many months before this initiative started, before the pandemic. And she was coming up every day, and I would put the meals in her trunk, and and she would say thank you so much and leave and come back the next day, and I didn't think anything of it. And she pulled me aside and told me the story, and told me how much this impacted her, and told me how reassuring it was seeing me every day, telling her have a great day, being friendly,
Yeah.
not just treating her like another person receiving food or services, but
Yeah.
treating her like a person.
Like a human.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Teachers and guidance counselors came up, because they were helping with families and neighbors and friends and things like that, and they told me how much this helped their students. Their parents were emailing them, almost in tears, saying, I have no other options. Can you help me? I get calls every day because my phone number is on the Instagram and on the website, and I
yeah.
get calls every day
How many
with
thank you
parents.
texts and calls do you get every day, man?
None, but mostly they're just like, people asking,
How can I help?
um, no, not how can I help, but how can I get help?
Yeah.
um, I don't have some people that don't have cars, and so they have to get on the bus. You
Yeah.
know, I can probably tell you how many meals I set aside, and wait, because I don't want anyone to be hungry. And if I know you're coming, I will literally sit at Gear Street Garden with meals. I'll pack up some meals and put them somewhere, and then I will wait for you, because I know you need those things, and
Yeah.
you just don't have the means to get them. And so that's what we've been experiencing every day. And so when I tell you, when I left, it was just so hard for me and so hard for everybody else. I come back all the time, and the biggest smile comes on my face when I get to serve a meal. I told the volunteers the other day, I said, even if you let me just serve one,
Please.
that that makes me happy. Just let
Yeah.
me serve one. um, but just the joy of being there, and being able to interact with the volunteers and interact with the community, and our friends, our neighbors, and our family, that just makes me so happy. And that is the biggest takeaway from this year. I can say that is that I got to help so many people.
Yeah. You did. You did. You know?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. And and another thing, like I referred to earlier, with food services and things like that, you stand in line, they give you your food, you leave.
Yeah.
This, you come, we talk, we get to know each other. I want to know your name, I want to know about your family, just a general conversation. And when you come tomorrow, I'll make sure to ask about your family again,
Yeah.
and I'll call you by your name.
Well, it's I feel like and you're doing it, and that's kind of what personally I'm trying to do as well with the podcast, right? Like
Yeah.
people should check in on people, right? Because you never know how a smile could go the longest way. You never know. I mean, we barely know how we feel every day, right? like we're all complex creatures. We're all complex individuals, and
Hmm.
you never know how asking someone, "How are you? How you been?" can be like, "Oh my god." There are people that could go months without being asked about how they have been, and that's a reality that I'm
Mhm.
sure you've seen, right,
Yeah.
firsthand. And the difference that you are a human as well. So that's really awesome, Eli.
Yeah. And man, it's been so exciting. I'm actually, just a quick well, drop here. I'm
Yeah,
actually about to start something called Mission 21. I'm really excited about.
tell us about
Um,
that. You beat me to it. I was gonna ask. So with this, what are future plans? Tell us about Mission 21.
so Mission 21 is the plan for 2021, and it's going to be equipped with some great things to really, really start engaging more with the community, like inside the community,
Nice.
and making um, what our neighbors want a reality. And so, but that's going to come with an advisory board, uh,
Yeah.
with people that include partners that partners with us, local businesses and farmers, and then our Durham neighbors. What do they want to see out of this initiative? How
Yeah.
can we help them? Um, you know, not how can we help them, and then and it's just us, the people running the initiative, saying this is how we're going to help you, and this is what we think you need, but getting what do they actually need. um, and so that's going to be like the biggest one, the advisory board, making sure the volunteers are still excited and ready, and their
Yeah.
morale is up. A partner plan, so partnering with some diverse businesses,
Nice.
some more diverse businesses, bringing some diversity through the door. It's going to be really big on my plan,
That's awesome.
because they need help too. They
Yeah,
need help too,
absolutely.
and it's going to be really big to be able to support them and be able to advertise and work with some of those businesses. Because right now we're just working with Chicken Hut. Chicken Hut is amazing. I can tell you that. I had their food once, and I tell you, it was so good. But yeah, those are some of the big things that are going to come out of Mission 21. The next, more will be available on our Instagram and on our website by January 1st. And so, Mission
Perfect.
21, y'all.
Well, so for those listening, as far as Mission 21, how could we help? And other than on the standby, I'm sure I'll love to have you again in a few months down the road, see what's going on, and I'm looking forward to seeing you grow.
Mhm.
Because again, you're I know what I was doing when I was 19, but you're doing great things, and not a knock on myself or anyone else, but you're really going above and beyond. So that's something again that you should feel proud, fulfilled, thankful that I like to start everything with gratitude. Uh, thankful that you had the idea that the idea snowball. This happened to this, and like look where you are now. Now you're with Mission 21. So like coming up. So how can the community? How can the neighbors? How can your neighbors get involved for Mission 21?
So we right now we're battling with funding, like we
Yeah.
always do. But like right now we're battling with funding. And
Okay.
so after, by January we're going to be out. And so funding is going to be something that is absolutely essential
Yeah.
to even make Mission 21 kind of a reality.
Yeah.
Um, that's going to be the thing. And so funding is going to be really big, and we have a new database. We have our GoFundMe up still, but we have this new thing called Go Lively, which makes it easier for sustainers to do a monthly donation.
Hmm.
And so you just put in your information, does monthly or yearly and things like that. But anyway, funding is going to be a big one, and sharing to your family, your
Social.
friends, your
Yeah.
circles, your businesses. Let those businesses help out with some donations, and corporations, things like that. But make sure we're sharing this work as much as possible.
Yeah.
Um, Make sure we're sharing stories as much as possible, and that's one big thing that's also going to come out of Mission 21 is an Our Stories campaign. letting people hear stories, to show examples of how this work has impacted people, every single day, in and out. And so make sure we're sharing our own stories and being vulnerable, with our circles,
Yeah,
to make this work even more impactful and bring awareness to food insecurity and the fact that it can happen to anyone. Um, that can happen to anyone. And so,
totally.
yeah,
There's power in vulnerability. There really is. You know, that's how you see the good in people and the good starts coming out. So you're totally right. So before we go,
yeah.
what are you studying at UNCG? And what's
Um,
do you know what you
I'm
want to do, or are you still trying to figure it out?
so I'm a poli sci student, in the School of Sciences and Arts. So I'm a political science student with a minor in international and global studies.
Nice.
Um, I might double minor and do pre-law,
Yeah.
but that's on my agenda right now. It's just poli sci and international and global studies. Um, so yeah, and then in the future, um, you know, I'm keeping options open to if I want to run for office in Durham in the next few years, um,
Yeah.
or if I just want to keep doing community organizing, things like that. Um, I've been living on going back to the nonprofit sector. I did that for a long time, and it was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
It just takes so much out of it, but just
Yeah.
keeping my options open. Um,
As you should. Yeah.
but trust me, this isn't the last of. This isn't the last you will hear of me. I will always be there, and like I said, my number is literally pasted in email or pasted everywhere. And so, anyone that wants to get in contact with me can.
Right.
But yeah, I'm keeping my options open. But Greensboro, is UNCG has been very gracious, and I mentioned I'm in a residential college, and our residential college is focused on sustainability. So
Nice.
sustainability in all of our systems, whether that's environmental, political, economic, things like that. And I'm actually the chair of the sustainability committee, and so
Cool.
that's my work every day is working with sustainability and teaching people how to uh, teaching people sustainability. They don't really,
Yeah.
and so it's been amazing.
That's awesome. And then well, we're all super thankful about awesome people like yourself, Eli. So thank you for being the change you wanted to see in the world. Thank you for showing compassion to others when compassion hasn't been shown to them. And thank you for loving big and expecting nothing in return. And that loving big, expecting nothing in return has, from the sounds of it, created extremely lasting bonds that are fulfilling. You've seen the impact that you've been able to give firsthand, and trust. Because it's so easy to be like, ah, oh, man, people just don't want to help people, but you've realized that there are good people out there. You've seen it
Hmm.
through your volunteers. You've seen it with Grant, George, Andy, and many others. Because I see every time I see the Instagram page, it's like, oh, who was the I forgot you mentioned Pie Pushers, right? Chicken Hut.
Yeah.
There was also the other one. I forgot, but it was based, I think, in Raleigh. I'm not too sure, but you're always up to something, and that's truly awesome. So thank you, Eli. And any special people you want to give a special shout out to? And I guess, like Eli said, Mr. and Mrs. Listener, um, if you want to help out, reach out. If you want to, whether it's through a tax deductible donation, right, or helping out with food resources, or actually being there, reach out to Eli and,
Hmm.
and the team. They will welcome you into their neighborly arms. So yeah. Um, any special people you want to give a shout out to, Eli?
I want to say thank you to our hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of supporters. Um, people who shared, supported, gave words of, wisdom. I want to say thank you to the countless journalists and people with phones, computers, tablets that have shared this information and shared this initiative to make sure that people who need it can have access to it.
Yeah.
I want to say thank you to, of course, my mom, teaching me that don't take things for granted. And there's always people that can be helped, and no matter how you do it, as long as you're helping others, that will make your heart warm.
Yeah.
Um, that will make your heart warm. And yeah, I just want to say thank you to um, our neighbors, our friends, and our family for accepting this work and coming every day to see me, so I can see you, our listeners,
Yeah.
and so because it's keeping me sane. And so thank you all, for supporting this amazing work, and thank you so much for being Durham neighbors.
Thank you. Thank you, Eli. We'll stay in touch, okay? And reach out if there's anything I can do to help.
Well, thank you so much, Eddie, and I look forward to talking to you soon.
All right. Awesome. Thanks. That was awesome. I'm so thankful that we had an opportunity to sit down, Eli, chat a little bit. And I'm so excited about Mission 21 and what's next for you and your team. Everyone out there, happy holidays. Have a happy holiday season, and follow Eli's example. If you see someone that could benefit from either a meal, even some water, go out of your way and at least acknowledge them. You never know how much that little bit of a hello, that little bit of food could go the extra long mile for someone, and the last time that they may have been acknowledged. Love you all. Make it a great Thursday.